Ted, I was at the announcement with Turner and ESPN, and you proclaimed there has never been a better time to be the owner of a professional sports team. I'm assuming technology, distribution, digital was all part of the reason, and the dollars, of course. Why did you make that statement?
Well, we're in the fan engagement business, and we have so many ways now to touch and reach our fan and enhance that experience. And we not only can do it now on a local basis, which is what we're responsible for as owners, but on a national basis, that's what that media deal was. But because of the growing platform of mobile and social, we now have ability to touch 3.5 billion connected people around the planet. And so yeah, it's a great time for players, it's a great time for consumers, it's a great time for owning a team.
You must be licking your chops. I mean, it's an insatiable appetite for your product.
Well, I think we are very, very blessed on the media landscape. Live sports programming is probably the only TiVo-proof programming there is, news and sports. We're conveners. We can bring together large audiences in real time. And because of Twitter and Snapchat, real time, bursty information has become really, really important. And there's this very nice integration that's happened, watching a game on television, being able to tweet, communicate. And we are big data companies. We're generating an enormous amount of data around our teams, around our players. And young people just have this insatiable appetite to go deep onto a subject. And so, yeah, this tech summit really is trying to show that we in sports are at this confluence, as you said, entertainment and sports and media and e-commerce and social aspects of communications.
And how much do you think the Nets could go for?
Well, I'm not sure, and I shouldn't ever talk about another team. I do think that we're all redefining what the value and where the value is. I grew up in the tech field, and you have different multiples for different segments of technology. So like e-commerce companies usually can trade at 2 times revenues. Software or service companies, because they have reoccurring revenues, can trade at 10 times multiples. And so sports teams for the longest time were trading at 3 to 4 times multiples, yet we have an enormous amount of reoccurring revenues. Our media, our naming rights, our suites, our club seats. You could even argue that season tickets, we at 90% renewal are reoccurring revenues. And so I think what's happened is that people are looking at us not as sports businesses and real estate businesses, but really as technology and media businesses, and that's why the multiple increased.
Then is there no top to these sports rights fees right now? They just seem so high, but maybe sky's the limit.
Well, all trees don't go to heaven, and I think that overall long-term horizon, I do believe these are great, great investments. The psychic footprint that we have in our communities is much, much greater than the actual revenue that we generate. And that just shows how much we can grow into the brand.
And what do you think the Wizards are worth?
I really don't dwell on it, don't think they're not for sale. I hope they'll stay in my family for generations to come. And, I honestly look at sports ownership as a way of giving back to the community. I'm sure long term I'll look back and say this was the best investment that I made. But we do so much for our community. I like to say the first business we're in is making lifelong memories between mothers and sons and fathers and daughters and best friends. And then providing our athletes with a platform to give back in the community, being able to activate lots of charitable efforts around the community. These are real double bottom line businesses. And the scrutiny and transparency that you have, I like to say I actually was elected mayor of my town in Florida. And we had the sunshine laws in Florida. Everything that we did was a matter of public record. And that pales into comparison on what it's like when you own a sports team, that literally every action that you, your players, the league, the union, everything becomes highly scrutinized.
What would Mayor Ted say to the rich guy who says, I want my sports team here, but you have to build my arena for me? Your predecessor, Abe Pollin, it's one of the examples where it worked. He paid for the arena himself.
Yes, and I've stepped into those shoes, and I not only pay the mortgage, but we pay 10% tax, and we turned around the neighborhood. And, you know, Mr. Pollin was certainly a hero for the community. In that regard, I would say that, that the city has gotten a lot of benefit from what we built and what's happened. I think right now, sincerely, we're about 10% within a half a mile radius of Verizon Center. We're over 10% of the city's tax base. And so that neighborhood 15 years ago was porn shops and drug dealing, and it was pretty much an abandoned, unsafe community. Now we have the Shakespeare Theater, and we've got you know, restaurants, the most restaurants. It's become the entertainment hub of the community. It's why we've been named on several occasions the D.C. Chamber of Commerce Business of the Year, because we convene and bring 3 million people per year into that building, and not only do they come to the games, but then they go to the restaurants and the like. And so it's a good deal for the city.
Given all the scrutiny that you say that you're under, how challenging is it right now, not for you just to manage your own business, but these athletes, on and off the court, the field, the ice? We see what it's done to other athletes on other teams. Has it gotten exponentially harder for you to manage that?
Well, it all comes in the recruitment, and I think that's very, very important for us, because these young men, you know, they're going to college for 1 year in the NBA and coming out. We've been blessed in having very, very high integrity individuals on the Wizards. John Wall, who's our leader, is the #1 pick in the draft. He's a very, very high-quality individual. Bradley Beal, very, very high-quality individual.
Did you have to learn that? There were some incidents with the team. Did you have to learn that that counts and it helps to win?
Well, I understand that the relationship within the locker room and the respect for the game, for teammates, for the coach and the staff, and perhaps most importantly for the fan base. You know, John Wall, his when he scores a big shot, he'll say, "This is my city," and he's motivated to bring a championship back to Washington, D.C. And he did get a max deal, and he deserved it. But now it's about giving back. He's a very, very sensitive, very committed young man. He had a very special relationship with a young woman who passed away, and it dramatically, emotionally touched him. And I was very proud of the work that he did in bonding, you know, with the community. On the hockey side, we just had the exact same thing happen with Alex Ovechkin. He's our highest paid player. He's MVP of the league, leading goal scorer, and he worked very, very diligently with a young fan, and she's considers him her boyfriend now. And he went to the All-Star game and worked really hard and just donated a car to a cause that she's associated with. And so I've tried to create a culture. I think that's what you do as an owner, and a platform where the players should be philanthropists, where the sponsors can be activated to give back to the community, where the fans can do that as well. Because like it or not, we are under such scrutiny. We have such a high psychic footprint in the community that it's incumbent on us to do the right thing the right way.